Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely drained? As if someone had quietly stolen your energy? Or found yourself tangled in a web of subtle manipulation? Questioning your own reality without knowing why? Life is filled with different kinds of people, some who uplift and inspire, and others who seem to pull you down, little by little, without you even realizing it. The most dangerous ones don't always appear harmful at first. They might be charming, persuasive, or even seem to care about you. But beneath the surface, they bring nothing but confusion, exhaustion, and self-doubt. So, what do? Do you keep giving, hoping they will change? Do you endure, thinking that kindness alone can fix them? Buddhism and Stoicism teach us something different. True wisdom is not just about compassion, it is about clarity. A wise person knows when to hold on and when to let go. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free." But what if some people take advantage of your kindness? What if their presence suffocates your peace instead of nurturing it? Today, we uncover the two types of people a wise person must silently cut off, not out of hatred, but out of self-respect. Stay with me until the end, because understanding this could be the key to reclaiming your energy, protecting your mind, and finally finding the peace you deserve. Manipulative controllers do not always reveal their true nature up front. They can appear warm, charismatic, and even protective, disguising their intentions under the guise of advice, concern, or wisdom. However, beneath their seemingly well-meaning words lies a deep need for control. These individuals thrive on making others dependent on their approval, their validation, and their version of reality. Unlike those who exert dominance through aggression or direct coercion, manipulative controllers operate in a much more insidious way. They reshape narratives to serve their interests, all while making their victims believe they are acting in their best interest. This makes identifying them particularly challenging. Their methods are often so subtle that by the time a person realizes they are being controlled, they may already feel trapped. Manipulation is psychological warfare, not physical force. The manipulator does not command outright obedience but instead creates an environment where their victim feels incapable of making decisions without their input. This control manifests in different ways: gaslighting, where a person is made to doubt their own reality; guilt tripping, which turns emotions into weapons of control; passive aggressiveness, keeping the victim in a constant state of unease; conditional approval, where love and validation are granted only when the victim conforms; and feigned concern, where control is disguised as care or protection. These tactics can be found in friendships, romantic relationships, professional environments, and even leadership on a global scale. History has seen many powerful figures use manipulation as a means to achieve and maintain influence. Steve Jobs, for instance, was known for his reality distortion field, a psychological manipulation technique that altered how people perceived their own abilities and ideas. While his influence undoubtedly contributed to Apple's innovation, it also created a toxic work environment. Employees described how Jobs would initially reject an idea, only to present it later as his own. This psychological game eroded confidence, making employees second-guess themselves and increasing their dependence on his approval. Such control may have driven progress, but it also led to burnout and strained relationships. Manipulative control is not confined to business but extends to politics as well. Vladimir Putin, for example, has mastered the art of perception control, using media narratives, false loyalty, and historical revisionism to maintain power. His methods do not rely solely on force but on psychological conditioning, making people feel that questioning him is equivalent to betraying their own country. Through a carefully controlled narrative, he ensures that opposing viewpoints seem untrustworthy, reinforcing his influence over the public. In personal relationships, manipulative controllers are even more dangerous because their influence can feel like love, care, or mentorship. They create emotional dependencies, making their victims believe that their happiness and security depend entirely on them. Elon Musk, for instance, is often praised for his relentless drive and bold vision. But former employees have described a work culture shaped by psychological intensity. Musk is known to push employees beyond their limits, dismissing concerns and belittling dissenters, fostering an environment where individuals feel they must continuously prove themselves. This is a hallmark of manipulation, where approval is selectively granted, self-doubt is reinforced, and emotional dependency is maintained. Breaking free from a manipulative controller begins with recognition. Manipulators follow a predictable cycle. First, they idealize their victims, making them feel special and valued. Then, they introduce doubt, making them question themselves. Next, they exert control by justifying their behavior, often using guilt, and finally, they reinforce the cycle, rewarding compliance and punishing resistance. Once a person recognizes this pattern, they can begin to detach emotionally. Both Buddhism and Stoicism teach that suffering stems from attachment. The more a person craves validation from a manipulative figure, the stronger the controller's hold. True liberation comes from within, choosing self-trust over external approval. Asking key questions like, would I make the same decision if I weren't afraid of their reaction? Or do I feel empowered or drained in their presence? Can illuminate whether a relationship is based on genuine support or control. Leaving a manipulative controller is never easy, because they will never grant permission. They will attempt to reel their victim back in through guilt, charm, or even aggression. This is why disengagement, often through silence, is the most effective response. Walking away is not an act of weakness but of wisdom. Manipulative controllers thrive in environments where people seek external validation. But true strength lies in recognizing that one's worth does not depend on anyone's approval. As the Buddha wisely said, do not allow yourself to be guided by the voices of others. Find your own truth. And sometimes, the greatest truth one can embrace is that walking away is not a defeat, it is freedom. Negativity is contagious. It seeps into conversations, infects emotions, and weighs down even the most optimistic individuals. While occasional complaints or frustrations are natural, some people seem permanently trapped in a cycle of negativity. They complain, criticize, and drain those around them, yet they never take action to change their circumstances. These individuals, whom we can call relentlessly negative souls, do not just experience hardship, they cultivate and spread it. The most dangerous part is that they can pull others down with them. A wise person must learn to identify, manage, and, when necessary, distance themselves from such individuals. Some believe that patience, kindness, and support can help a negative person change. But as the story of the traveler and the villager illustrates, negativity is often a choice, not a condition. No matter how much love, energy, or encouragement you pour into a negative soul, it may never be enough. There are several psychological and behavioral reasons why some individuals stay trapped in a state of constant negativity. Some develop a victim mentality, viewing themselves as perpetual victims of life's circumstances. rather than taking responsibility for their actions. They believe everything happens to them and refuse to see their own role in their problems. They blame others for their failures, constantly complain without seeking solutions, and expect sympathy but never take steps to improve their situation. For others, negativity is not just a mood, it is their identity. They have built their entire self-image around being the realist who always sees the worst. They criticize dreamers and optimists, label hope as delusion, and positivity as naivete, and find satisfaction in bringing others down. The addictive nature of complaining plays a role as well. Psychological studies suggest that complaining releases stress hormones like cortisol, which can make people feel temporarily justified in their frustration. But over time, habitual complaining rewires the brain, making negativity a default mindset. This is why some individuals seem addicted to negativity, even when they receive help. They reject it because their complaints have become a source of comfort and familiarity. History has shown how different mindsets shape destinies. A classic example is the contrast between Winston Churchill and Neville Chamberlain during World War II. Chamberlain, Britain's Prime Minister in the late 1930s, approached challenges with avoidance and passive resignation. Faced with Hitler's aggression, he sought to negotiate and appease rather than confront, reflecting fear, hesitation, and negativity, assuming that nothing could be done to stop an inevitable war. In contrast, Churchill refused to succumb to negativity, even in the darkest hours when Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. He chose resilience over despair. His speeches inspired an entire nation to resist, proving that one leader's mindset can shape the fate of millions. The lesson is clear: negativity paralyzes, while resilience transforms. People who constantly dwell on the negative are like Chamberlain, stuck in fear, inaction, and a defeatist mindset. Those who choose strength, like Churchill, uplift those around them. Many people hold on to negative individuals out of loyalty, obligation, or misplaced hope. But the cost of keeping them around can be immense. They drain your energy. Spending time with someone who constantly complains leaves you exhausted, even if nothing in your own life has changed. Negativity is like an emotional black hole, absorbing your time, joy, and mental clarity. They influence your mindset. Repeated exposure to negative people alters your thinking, increases stress, and rewires the brain, making it harder to see opportunities and solutions. They resist change, finding reasons why things cannot improve, ignoring suggestions that require effort, and complaining about problems while avoiding responsibility. This creates a one-sided relationship, where you keep giving, and they keep draining. Negativity is also highly contagious. One negative person in a group can lower morale in workplaces, create tension in families, and poison friendships with gossip and complaints. This is why some of the most successful leaders and thinkers have been ruthless about removing negativity from their circles. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, built one of the world's most powerful companies by maintaining an obsession with innovation and problem solving. One of his key management philosophies was eliminating negativity in decision-making. He famously disliked people who focused on problems rather than solutions, employees who complained without taking action, and a culture of pessimism that slowed down progress. At Amazon, negativity was seen as a liability. Bezos understood that fostering a mindset of curiosity, risk-taking, and optimism was essential for success. The lesson is simple: if even one of the most powerful business leaders in history refuses to tolerate negativity, why should you? Once you recognize the impact of relentlessly negative souls, The next step is learning how to manage them without letting them drain your energy. Limit your exposure, just as you would avoid a toxic environment. You must protect your mental space. Reduce time spent with negative individuals. Avoid engaging in conversations that revolve around complaints. And surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire. Set firm boundaries. Negative people often feed off your attention. So establishing clear emotional boundaries is essential. Break the cycle by refusing to engage in endless negativity. I understand you're frustrated. But I can't keep having the same conversation. Or I'm happy to discuss solutions. But I won't dwell on negativity. Stop trying to fix them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they can change a negative person. You cannot force someone to see the good in life. Make them take action if they refuse to. Or pour endless positivity into someone who thrives on misery. As the wise elder in the story said, some people are like bottomless vessels. No matter how much you pour into them, they will never be full. Sometimes, the best choice is to let go. Both Buddhism and Stoicism emphasize the importance of protecting one's inner peace. Buddhism teaches that negativity is a form of attachment. When you constantly try to change negative people, you are clinging to an illusion. The idea that you can control others. Instead, true wisdom lies in acceptance and detachment. You only lose what you cling to. As the Buddha said, Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control other people, we can control how we react. Arguing, convincing, or trying to change negative people is a waste of energy. As Seneca wisely stated, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When dealing with negativity, silence and distance are often the most powerful responses. Every day, you make a choice. Will you surround yourself with people who inspire and uplift? Or will you allow negativity to drain your energy? You owe it to yourself to protect your peace, mindset, and future. Because in the end, walking away from relentless negativity is not selfish, it is survival. Letting go is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of wisdom. It is the quiet decision to protect your peace, to honor your well-being, and to recognize that some battles are not worth fighting. The Buddha once taught, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Think about that for a moment. How often do we give our time, energy, and love to people who only drain us in return? How often do we hold on, hoping they will change, while slowly losing ourselves in the process? But here's the truth, you do not have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. If someone manipulates you, if their presence poisons your peace, if their negativity becomes a storm that never clears, then stepping away is not selfish. It is survival. Your peace is worth more than their approval. Walking away does not make you cruel, it makes you wise. Sometimes, the loudest answer is silence. And now, I leave you with a question: who in your life is silently draining your energy? Is it time to let go? Subscribe to Peaceful Horizons for more wisdom on mindfulness, growth, and reclaiming your inner peace. The journey to true freedom begins now.